What if the life you want asks you to pay more than you can afford? What if comfort today becomes a trap tomorrow? Would you run from your choices or stand and rebuild your life? My name is Mia, and I am 31. I once left my first love because I wanted money, safety, and an easy road. I married a man who looked strong and successful, and then I learned the truth about him and about myself. This is how I lost almost everything, and how I found myself again. I moved to a big American city when I was 18. The buildings were tall, the streets were loud, and everything felt fast. In college, life was simple. My first boyfriend, Leo, and I shared cheap pizza, secondhand headphones, and small plans. After graduation, the city asked for money I did not have. Rent was high, groceries were expensive, and even cheap food did not feel safe. People at the office wore nice shirts and clean shoes. I watched cars pass while I stood in the rain and wished I had a warm seat inside one of them. Leo worked hard, but he had a lot on his shoulders. He sent money to his parents. He took odd jobs and kept trying. He was kind, but his paycheck was small. I started measuring our future in prices, not in hope. I told myself I was being practical, not cold. I said, love is not a plan. Love needs support. I wanted a nicer apartment, a better bed, and a life without fear of bills. One night, after a long commute, I felt tired of waiting. I began to believe I could choose a faster way to a better life. I did not talk to Leo about these feelings because I was afraid of hurting him. But silence is also a choice. I took that choice and kept it like a secret inside my coat. I told myself, one day, he will thank me for being honest about what I want. That was not true. I just wanted a door that opened now. I met Aaron at a friend's birthday dinner. He wore a simple black jacket and a watch that looked expensive. He drove a dark sedan and parked with calm hands. He said he worked in tech and electronics investment, and I did not ask for more. He paid for everyone's dessert and said, "You deserve more than a small life." Those words felt like a warm blanket after a cold walk. We started to meet for coffee. He asked about my goals, my dream home, and the kind of life I wanted. He talked about quiet hallways, a view from the 12th floor, and never worrying about rent again. I liked the picture in my head. At first I told myself we were only talking, but I knew the line I was crossing. I did not break up with Leo yet. I waited because I wanted to be sure that this better life was real. After some weeks, I crossed another line because I wanted proof. I said I was testing my future. I told myself many things to feel better. Finally, I met Leo and said we should end it. He listened without raising his voice. He said, "I hope you find what you were looking for." I cried on the train home and then texted Aaron. He sent a heart emoji and wrote, "We'll build something real." I believed him. I believed I was acting like an adult and that safety would grow into love. I thought I had made the smart choice. It felt like winning a prize I had waited for since I was a kid. With Aaron, life moved fast. We toured model apartments and picked sofas from online catalogs. He let me drive in empty parking lots and laughed when I pressed the brake too hard. He said, Stop worrying about small things. Enjoy the life you deserve. When I asked again about his work, he said, online business. Investments. Don't stress. He gave short answers with a calm smile, and I accepted them because they were easy to accept. My parents liked his confidence. My friends liked his car. We chose simple gold rings and set a wedding date. After we married, I got pregnant. He put his hand on my belly and said, "Our kid will not struggle the way we did." I wanted to believe that so much. Then one morning my phone rang, and his voice was not calm. He said, "I might be arrested. Please take care of yourself and the baby." I stood in our kitchen and felt my hands shake. I asked, "What is going on?" He said, "It's complicated. I'll explain later." Later did not come. Law enforcement came instead. They took the car, the accounts, and other assets for investigation. The safe life I chose broke in a single day. The walls looked the same, but everything inside had changed. I sat on the floor and tried to breathe. I told myself, "You did this. Now you must face it." The charges were serious: online gambling and sports betting. I had heard those words before, but I never listened closely. I had nodded when he said platform and traffic, as if it was a game app. It was not a game. It was illegal work with heavy punishment. He was sentenced to more than 5 years. I moved out of our apartment because there was nothing left to pay for it. For a short time, I stayed with his parents in a small house far from downtown. They had little money and old furniture. The image Aaron created had been a show for people he wanted to pull into his world. After a few weeks, I moved back to my parents' place. I felt ashamed, angry, and afraid. Some friends stopped calling. Some asked questions I could not answer. I kept hearing a small voice inside. Is this karma? I thought about Leo and heard he married a kind woman. Her family helped them buy a starter home. He had a stable job. I sat in the dark and thought about the day I chose the fast road. But I also understood that regret cannot feed a baby. Regret cannot change diapers or pay for formula. I decided to act. I said to myself, "You cannot change yesterday. You can change today and tomorrow." I put my hands on my belly, felt my baby move, and promised to become strong. After my child was born, sleep came in short pieces. I woke every few hours to feed and change. My body was tired, but my will got stronger. I made a schedule on a paper taped to the fridge. Morning, baby care. Afternoon, job search and skills. Evening, rest and reading. I watched free videos about resumes and office tools. I learned how to explain a gap in work. I practiced phone interviews with a cousin. At first, no one replied. Then one company offered a trial. The pay was low and the commute long. I took it. My parents helped with the baby, so I could work 2 full days and 1 half day. I bought 2 second-hand office outfits and kept them very clean. I learned to cook simple meals that were cheap but healthy. I tracked every dollar in a small notebook. Sometimes I cried in the bathroom because fear is heavy. Then I looked in the mirror and said, "You made mistakes, but you are not a mistake." I repeated it until the words felt true. At work I was slow, then a bit faster, then steady. My supervisor said, "You're improving." Those 2 words gave me energy for another week. I went to bed early and woke up before the alarm because my child needed me. The days were not pretty, but they were real. Real days build real lives. I visited Aaron every few months. The room was bright and cold, and time was short. He looked thinner but calm. We spoke about our child, bills, and basic needs. He said he was sorry. I said I was sorry too. Sorry did not change the past, but it kept the air clear. I told him I could not wait in the old way. My duty was to our child and to a life that was legal and safe. He nodded. There was no argument. I also met a legal aid counselor to understand my rights. There was nothing left from the old life. In a strange way, that helped me. I stopped waiting for money that would never arrive. I built a simple budget: rent and food, small savings, and learning. Even if I saved only a little, I saved. Even if I studied only 1 hour, I studied. When I felt judged, I whispered, "You are doing the work." When I envied others, I listed 3 things I still had: a child who needed me, a body that could work, and a mind that could learn. The consequences were heavy, but my muscles grew. The more I carried the truth, the stronger I became. I learned that character is a daily habit, not a speech. At work, I volunteered for tasks no one wanted. I cleaned messy spreadsheets. I organized digital folders. I answered hard emails with a calm tone. Each Friday, I asked for feedback and wrote it in a small notebook. I learned how to say, "I don't know yet, but I will find out." After 3 months, my probation ended. I got a small raise. I did not celebrate with a big dinner. I bought a better stroller and a used grammar book. I joined a free community class in the library to improve English and computer skills. I met other parents who were also rebuilding their lives. We shared low-cost meal ideas and tips on secondhand stores. I walked each morning with my child in the stroller. We looked at trees and counted dogs. At night, I made a win list. Some wins were tiny: on-time bus, clean sink, kind message, new word. The list helped me see a different story about myself. I sent Leo a short message. I did not ask for anything. I said I was sorry for how I left. He replied, "I wish you well." I closed that door with respect. I slept better after that. Peace is quiet, but it is powerful.